everybody.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here today. I can't believe there's this many people here. Well, I would like to start with a question, if I may. And I wonder how many of you will answer. When you think of the phrase black person, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Any volunteers?
What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Africa came to my mind.
Okay.
Popped right into my mind.
Okay. Anybody else?
Basketball player?
Okay. Understandable.
Warm and friendly.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Did any of you think shy at all?
No.
Of course you didn't. But some of us are shy. Like myself, I have been that way all my life. In fact, I remember asking my stepfather what he remembered about me when I was a little girl, like 3 or 4 years old. And he said, you were really quiet and you stayed in the corner reading a lot. And that's what I remember too. I did that even in places like preschool, where I was supposed to be playing with the other kids, and sometimes I did. But sometimes I got in trouble for not playing with the other kids like I should have. Yes, the Tweeties are here.
They're in the...
Sorry for that brief interruption. Jeffrie, it's snack time. But if you want a snack, you have to come out with everybody else. Oh, come on. We're having Twinkies. That's your favorite. Don't you want any Twinkies? Well, if you don't want to share with the rest of the class, I will share with the rest of the class, and you can just stay there and have no snacks. Would any of the class like Twinkies today? Anybody? Okay. So. Okay. Anybody else? Twinkies? Oh, okay. You're welcome. Cheryl. There you go. Okay. A very cooperative little class. Unlike you, Jeffrie, no Twinkies for you, and that is final. Meanwhile, I might try to sneak a snack or two when the teacher wasn't looking. And then he ran out, and then, fast as a fox, the cat in the hat came back with a box. Well, I usually didn't get away with it, but I did every once in a while. So that was the side of me that most people saw, the quiet person in the corner. But there was another side of me that most people did not see, and that was the side of me that liked to sing. And I also did this in preschool. Believe it or not, I did this during nap time. It seems kind of weird, but while most of the kids were sleeping, for whatever reason, I just couldn't sleep. So I would amuse myself with commercial jingles, like the following. My baloney has a first name, F-O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, M-A-Y-E-R. I love to eat it every day, and if you ask me what I'll say, is Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A. By the time I got to elementary school, I finally started to perform in front of other people, but it wasn't alone. And that's a lot easier for a shy person when there's a group of people. One of the things I did was handbells, and I was in a choir called the Joy Bells. And one of the things I remember more than anything else about playing the bells white gloves. The teacher said you had to play them with white gloves, or else they would tarnish. The way she made it sound like they would rot in our hands if we touched them with our bare hands or something like that. And now, a brief demonstration. Better when there's 12 people like I have. So those are a few moments from the first 10 years of my life. While I was shy, things were generally okay. Things were stable. I had my family, I had a few friends, and I lived here in the Bay Area, and I loved it. Things changed the following year. That was the year that my parents split up, and my mother decided to move everybody to Sacramento. I didn't really like Sacramento at all. I just never fit in there. My family loves it. They still live there. They love it. And, you know, they would go out, they would be outgoing, but me, I just got even more shy. And the place you usually find me was my own little corner. In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whoever I want to be. On the wings of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me. I'm a young Norwegian princess or a milkmaid. I'm the greatest prima donna in Milan. I'm an heiress who has always had her silk made by her own flock of silkworms in Japan. I'm a girl made go mad for love's the game I can play with a cool and confident kind of air. Just as long as I stay in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair. Think back to when you were a teenager for just a minute. You remember when you had posters or pictures of your favorite band or TV show or whoever you had a crush on, stuff like that? Well, I had posters too. Actually, I had just one poster. And it was a big satellite picture of the Bay Area. Because the only thing I could think of was getting back here. That's all I wanted. I didn't get to do that until I went to college at UC Berkeley. My first day there was this gigantic line of what seemed like thousands of kids. And they're all waiting for, you know, whatever dorm they've been assigned to. And a few hours later, after everybody had moved in, it seemed like everybody already knew each other. Thousands of strangers already were making friends and going to parties and stuff like that. Everybody except me. I just didn't get it. What was going on? I don't know. So I decided to take a personality test. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I now know it as the Myers-Briggs Test. And they judge you on 4 different scales: introvert and extrovert. When I got my test scores back, I scored almost off the charts in introvert. In fact, every question they had where I could choose introvert or extrovert, I chose introvert for every last one of them. I didn't even know what this word meant. It was the first time I heard it. So I thought, maybe I should look up a little bit about it and see what it means. Introvert. Introverts tend to be more reserved and less outspoken in groups. Check, that was definitely me. They often take pleasure in solitary activities such as reading, writing, using computers. Check. An introvert is likely to enjoy time spent alone and find less reward spent in time with large groups of people. Yep. So there it was, the answer to what I was. It gave me insight, but didn't really make my life any better. Well, after that, after college, I had to go find a job. And a degree from Berkeley got me an $8 an hour job in retail. It was a music store called Tupper & Reed in downtown Berkeley. And here's a little clue as the kind of sentimental fool I really am. The store has been closed since 2005, and I still own one of their uniform shirts. I didn't think I'd ever need it again, but there you go. There were two different departments. There was the music department and the sheet music department, and I worked upstairs in the sheet music department. And a variety of people came by, and here's an example of the kind of person I dealt with at least once every single day. Good afternoon. Welcome to Tupper & Reed. How can I help you today? Hi there. I'm looking for, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to write this down. I'm looking for a book, and it's a piano book, and let's see, I just saw this at the teacher's house. It's red. So I need to know if you have any red piano books. Yeah, we have red piano books, but I'm going to need you to be just a little more specific. Is this a songbook you're looking for? Oh, no. My daughter's 6, she's just learning how to play. Oh, okay, I understand. So there are a few different choices. Let's see, there's the Alfred book, there's Faber and Faber, there's book. Oh, that's it, the John Thompson book. And, what level is she starting? Level 1. Okay, so I need the John Thompson Level 1 piano book. Do you have that? Why, yes. Yes, we do. In fact, we just got some in stock. Let me get you a copy. Hold on. A Day in the Life of the Sheet Music Department. I worked with all kinds of people, lots of different performers, lots of different teachers, and performing really was the last thing on my mind. Until one day when a club opened up across the street. It's still there. It's called the Shattuck Down Club. And they have a karaoke bar on Tuesday nights. I'd never been to a bar before, let alone a karaoke bar, so I decided to see what all the fuss was about. So I went there, and it was still new, so there was just a handful of people, but it seemed like everybody was enjoying themselves, singing whatever. Some had pretty good voices, others not so much, but they all had one thing in common that I did not have, and that was the courage to get on stage and sing. So I was on my way home, but the KJ stopped me and said, well, why aren't you singing? You know, needling me, trying to get me up on stage, getting more people up there. So finally I gave in. And there are some songs in the songbooks that I liked, so I chose one. At that time, I was into 60s music, especially girl group music, so that was the kind of song that I chose. Oh, by the way, this is the karaoke machine for today. While I'm far away from you, my baby, I know it's hard for you, my baby, because it's hard for me, my baby, and the darkest hour is just before dawn. Each night before you go to bed, my baby, whisper a little prayer for me, my baby, and tell all the stars above, this is way home and I was thinking, maybe I should take singing lessons. One good thing about working in a music store is that if you want a music teacher, it's really easy to find one. So I found one.
Right there.
Yeah, that
He's guilty party.
I started taking voice lessons every other Wednesday during my lunch break. A couple of months later, I learned that all of the students would be participating in a recital, including myself. At this point, I had a total of 5 lessons. And on top of that, when I got to the performance space, I found out I would be performing first. So, imagine this, if you will. You're a very shy person with almost no performance experience. Yeah, stop looking at your watch. And you are performing alone for the very first time in front of a large group of people, much larger than this one. And you're the first in a group of singers to do so. You don't have to say you love me, just be close at hand. You don't have to stay forever, I will understand. Believe me, I can't help but love you, but believe me, I'll never tie you down.
I love your cadaver one.
As you can see, I was scared stiff on stage, and I'm not going to recreate that entire experience for you, but imagine that happening for 3 very long minutes. My performance future was not looking very, very bright. At this point, I would like to introduce the piano player. His name is Marty Nemko, if you haven't met him yet. He's not only the piano player, this is also his home, as well as that of his lovely wife, Barbara Nemko, over there. All right, and he helped me to write and develop the show. When the music store I was working for closed, I was looking for a new career path, and I hired Marty as my career counselor. That's how we met. Several years later, I'm on a much better career path, and to the surprise of both of us, Marty and I have become best friends.
Nah.
Just for that, I'm going to make you sing a song.
What? You know I don't sing. You're doing great. You're going to screw this whole thing up by having me sing with you. Give me a break. Get out of here. Go on.
No, come on. You can carry a tune well enough.
Yeah, but why would you torture somebody who has a voice that sounds like chalk scratching?
Your voice does not sound that bad.
Well, you should stop by. Would you please go on and do the show?
I am going on with the show, as long as you sing a song with me. Do you know that song?
This is shy. Well, this is shy.
It seems like you're getting shy on me. Do you know the song Together from Gypsy?
It's ancient history. I vaguely.
Okay, you know 1,000 songs. I know you know it. Would you play it for me, please? And sing with me?
Yeah.
See? You have people
I always say, be aware of what you ask for. You might get it. What key?
G, please. Whatever we do, wherever we go, we're gonna go through it together. We may not go far, but sure as the stars, wherever we are, it's together.
Wherever I go, I know you go.
Wherever I go, I know you go.
No fits, no fights, no feuds, and no egos.
Amigos, together, through thick and through thin, all that are all in, and whether it's
Win, place, or show, it's you for me.
and me for you,
We'll muddle through.
whatever we do
Together,
together, wherever we go. Well, the other reason I wanted to introduce Marty at this point is because he saw one of those performances of mine, and he thought maybe I could loosen up and he could help me with that. And if I could loosen up on stage, maybe I'd loosen up in job interviews and just socialize in general, things like that. So he had me watch some YouTube videos of really great performances and emulate them to the best of my ability. And I guess he liked what he saw. So he offered me a ride home, because I don't have a car. But instead of turning onto my street, he got onto the freeway and took me to Joaquin Miller Park, which is miles out of the way. And in the middle of the park, if you've never been there, there is a theater. It's called the Woodminster Amphitheater. Some of you are nodding your heads, you know what it is. For those of you who do not know, picture a 1,500-seat theater. It's outdoors, so at night you can see the stars. In the day you can see trees. You might even see an animal scurrying by. And in the middle is this big Broadway-sized stage. Marty said, "You're going to perform on that stage one day." I said, "You have no idea what you're talking about." So I got home, and I decided to look up this Woodminster place that I had never heard of. After all of my years of living in Oakland, never heard of it. But they've been doing musicals for over 40 years. Who knew? Not me. But that saying of his planted a seed in my head. I decided, maybe I should look it up and see when auditions are and stuff like that. The worst they can say is no, right? So I looked up their auditions, and they had just had them the previous week. I told Marty, and he said, "What are you going to do now?" Normally, I would have forgotten about it and gone back to my regular life. But this time, I thought, maybe there's a little bit more you can do. I emailed the owner of the theater, whose name's Harriet Schlater, told her who I was, told her about my singing experience, but emphasized very clearly that I had no theater experience whatsoever. She said, "I'm having the second round of auditions on Saturday. Come on in, show me what you can do." So there I am, Saturday morning, walking onto that big Broadway stage, which is a lot bigger when you're actually on it. And you ever see those movies where people are auditioning for something and there's 2 or 3 people in the audience judging them, waiting for you to show them anything at all interesting?
Right.
I had that too. So, butterflies in my stomach, I still sang my heart out as best as I could. They said, "Thank you, next." Okay, best I could do, right? I got home and I waited a few days. And I got an email saying, "We would like you to perform for us this season."
Woo! Wow.
Wow.
So I go from a week before having never even heard of this place to being part of their cast.
Wow. All right.
I was part of what they call the vocal ensemble. If you've ever seen a musical, there's the stars up front and they're dazzling you with their velvety voices and witticisms. The people who are singing and dancing in the background, that's the ensemble, and that's what I was doing. The show they had me perform in that year was called Brigadoon. And here is a publicity shot. And if you have never seen Brigadoon, it takes place in an 18th century Scottish village. Only in Oakland. And I'm singing songs like this. The mist of May are in the gloaming, and all the clouds are holding still. So take my hand and let's go roaming through the heather on the hill. A little different than what I was used to. It was a month of rehearsals, day in and day out, very hard. And as time went on, I started getting really nervous about what I had gotten myself into. I had no idea until I did it. And the lead actor had noticed something was wrong with me, so he asked, "What's going on?" I said, "This is my first show, and I don't know if I'm cut out for this." He said, "Wait until opening night. It'll all be worth it." So opening night arrives. I'm still nervous. I see audience members beginning to stream in, and there are a lot of them, and I'm still nervous. And I go to the dressing room, I'm still nervous. Then I start putting on my costume and wig and makeup, and my castmates are doing the same, and they are all really, really excited around me. And I start getting sucked up in that. So by the time I made my entrance, I wasn't nervous anymore. I had a big smile on my face and I was ready to go. One of the most exciting times of my life. Not just my first show, but my first show on opening night. Very, very exciting. A few days after that, I had a sad experience in the middle of all this excitement. And before today, I had never told anybody except for 2 people, and not even my family knew about it. It was the morning of Wednesday, September 9th, 2009. I woke up, and I couldn't hear anything out of my left ear. I hadn't been injured or sick or eaten the wrong thing or stuffed anything in there. I just couldn't hear anything, and I don't know why. So I went down to the doctor, and they couldn't find anything out of the ordinary, and they gave me a round of steroids. Hopefully, this will make you feel better. But it actually did make me feel better. In fact, it seemed like I had some of the best hearings of my life. I was doing things like listening to cars rolling by and leaves rustling, stuff like that. It became my new soundtrack. It didn't last, though. The same thing happened on Sunday, September 27th. And they gave me a round of steroids again. And this time it didn't work. You may notice that tears are welling up in my eyes right now, and it's because whenever I think about it or talk about it, I cry. I just can't help it. We've all had stuff like that happen to us. Maybe like me, you were ashamed to talk about it. But when stuff like that happens, we accept it, we deal with it, and we move on. That's what I did then, and that's what I'm going to do now. So it seemed like they must have liked me at Woodminster because they invited me back, believe it or not. Here's a picture of a show that I did recently. It's called Finney's Rainbow. And if you have never seen Finney's Rainbow, there's love stories and leprechauns and a racist white senator magically turning into a black gospel singer. There's a lot of really great music, and a lot of show-stopping music, actually, in Finney's Rainbow. And my favorite song from that show is called Necessity. What is the curse that makes the universe so all bewildering? What is the hoax that just provokes the folks they call God's children? What is the jinx that gives a bite in his brother and everyone around the run around? Necessity, necessity, that most unnecessary thing, necessity. What throws a monkey wrench in a fella's good intentions? That nasty old invention, necessity. My feet want to dance in the sun. My head wants to rest in the shade. The Lord says go out and have fun, but the landlord says your rent ain't paid. Necessity. So plain to see what a lovely old world this silly old world could be. But man, it's all in a mess, the cant of necessity. There ought to be a law against necessity. I'd love to play some tennis or take a trip to Venice, but sister, here's the menace, necessity. Old Satan's the father of sin, and Cupid's the father of love. Oh, hell is the father of gin, but no one knows the father of necessity. Necessity. That's the maximum that a minimum thing could be. There's nothing lower than less unless it's nothing lower unless it's lower than less unless it's necessity. I've done a few other shows as well, and although I've gotten more performance experience and more experience just getting out in the world and meeting people, I'm still a shy person. I'm going out and socializing, but I'd still rather be at home than go to a party. And I still get nervous when I perform. But I still perform.
That's the cool thing.
Actually, an audience like you really makes it so much better, so I really thank you for being so accommodating today. And if there's any message that I could leave you with, I think maybe it would be this. Think of that one thing that you are too, for whatever reason, reluctant to try. Maybe you're too shy, like me. Try it anyway. You never know how far you can go. For my final piece today, I would like to push myself a little bit more out of my comfort zone, perhaps. Ask any of the chickies in my pen. They'll tell you I'm the biggest mother hen. I love them all and all of them love me. Because the system works, the system called reciprocity. Got a little motto, always sees me for you. The folks atop the ladder are the ones the world adores. So boost me up my ladder, kid, and I'll boost you up yours. Let's all stroke together like the Princeton crew. When you're stroking mama, mama's stroking you. So what's the one conclusion I can bring this number to? When you're good to mama, mama's good to
But I think you've applauded loud enough, you deserve one.
Yeah!
You ever walk alone? Can you do that?
Oh,
well, it's just rolling. It's just rolling.
can we do on the street? What do you think?
Yeah.
B flat. This was totally unexpected.